So yeah, I think it's already recorded. Thank you so much. Anyway, the previous example that I discussed is actually a review from what we have before the midterm. So starting from central limit theorem is a coverage for the fourth quarter. So again, we can pick 4 elements out of 5. So we can have sample 1 like this, right? We can also have sample 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Let's try to say we are going to pick 6 samples. So 6 samples. So what? 2, 2, 4, 3, something like that. And then, can someone give me another combination of 4 items, please? You can type it. Amos 5531, okay, good. Richard 2244, thank you. What else? One more. 444. Guys, you love doubles, no? Ganun mga doubles. Anyway, so next is we're gonna solve for the mean of each sample. So what's the mean of 1, 2, 2, and 4? 1 plus 2 plus 2, 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4 divided by 4, the mean is 2.25. No? I'm not gonna write an equal symbol lang. Kuan lang. Okay, basta na. And then the mean ani is 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 divided by 4, that's 3.5. Next, 2, 2, 4, 3. 2 plus 2, oh sorry, plus 2 plus 4 plus 3 divided by 4, this is 2.75. No? And then, kanisha here, 5, 5, 3, 1. 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus 1 divided by 4, that's 3.5. Kanisha 8, 8 plus 2, 10, 12. 12 divided by 4, 3. Kanisha kay 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 3 divided by 4, that's 3.25. Okay. Now I'm gonna plot these means, guys, from your sample. Now, from my sample and your sample, the first 3 samples are coming from me, and the second 3 samples are coming from you, respectively, Amos, Richard, and Jared. So let's try to plot this using the same, not using this method, doing bar graph. So we have the smallest one is 2.25. This is 2.25. Next to 2.25, we have 3. We have 3, and then, I know, we still have, somewhere here is 2.75 here. Tapos, next to 3, we have 3.5. So let's say this is 4 here. So somewhere here is 3.5. Okay. So see, S1, guys, is 2.25. So that's going to be S1. See, S2, 3.5. So kana siya. Kana. No? And that's equal to S4. So S2, S4 ni. Kasi man sila. So I'm going to check S1. Sunod, si S3 is 2.75. So si S3, guys, is somewhere here. 2.75. S3. And then C, check. Si S5 is 3. So somewhere here. Next, CS6 is 3.25, which is a little bit below sa 3.75. So somewhere here is siguro. So ako nang isumpay. S5 din na, guys. So somewhere here. And that's S6. So guys, if you're going to take a look at it, dili siya technically normal normal curve because we still pick 6 items naman. Pero makita ninyo nga ang iyahang motivation to become a normal curve is evident na siya. The more we pick sample sizes, kung mag-add pa taog another combination of 4 elements from these items, I can assure you that this curve would become like this. And I can promise you that. That's totally true. It's always the true case. So notice mo guys, from the population nga katag kaayo siya nga dili siya normal distribution, when we pick as many as possible nga sample size from that said population, the sample size becomes normally distributed or normal curve. I'm going to show you an intuitive way of like not the manual drawing or not the manual illustrating it. I'm going to show you a good example of doing it on a website. So just give me a minute here. So I hope you can see this. I'm using onlinestat.com simulation website. Do you see the first graph? So your focus, guys, is only the first graph and the third graph. The third graph doesn't have anything on it. Okay, do you see the first graph? Yes or no? Okay, so if you notice on the first graph, guys, can you tell me if it's normally distributed? In other words, can you tell me if it's a normal curve? I'm gonna mess it up. Ana. No, sir, it's clear na dili siya normal curve. Dili siya normally distributed. Let's say, for example, let's focus on that. The population, you see parent population, it's not normally distributed. The values in the population are not normally distributed. When they say they are not following the normal curve. First, I'm gonna pick 5 samples out of 32. So 5 combinations out of 32. 32 man nakabook from 0 to 32. So pick of 5. Tanawa ang third graph ha, mo ni ang forma niya. Ang first mong pick, guys, when you pick first 5, if you notice, equal na sila og length. That's what we call a uniform distribution. Okay? Uniform distribution when they have equal in length or equal probability. I'll add another 5 more. So tanawa, magsigog add og 5. Dayon akong 5. Tanawa ang sa mahitabo sa graph. And that graph is coming from the parent population. I don't know, kapila lang ako nag-pick og 5 but kadaghan na siya. So what do you think, guys? What can you observe from the population nga katag kaayo ang distribution, and then the more we get 5s element, or the more we get element of 5, the more we get a sample of 5 elements, what happens to the curve? What happens to the curve? Very good. It is approximating to normally distributed. Now, ang gipik ato kay 5 pa lang. Diba? What if I will pick 10,000 sample out of this? So 10,000 kabok, no? Look what happens. Mo pick another 1,000. Another. How much more kung mo pick 100,000? So what do you see now? It's a normal distribution na, guys. So in other words, what do we mean by central limit theorem? Stating the central limit theorem, guys, is CLT, central limit theorem. Limit theorem tells us that the more sample we pick from a population, and this population, guys, may be Distributed, or it may not be distributed either. Pwede katag, pwede normally distributed. Pick from a population, the sampling distribution will approximate to a normal distribution. Oh, di ba? So that's the concept of central limit theorem. Why central? The more we extend to, di ba, if in your calculus, guys, calculus na. In your calculus, guys, what happens what do we mean by increasing number of elements? What do we mean by that? It's actually stating that a mass function with a limit of x approaches to infinity. The more your x becomes higher, higher, and higher, and higher, the graph becomes like this. The function graph becomes like this. That's the whole idea. Okay. Questions so far? Because I'm going to go and present to you the inferential statistics na. That's the end of third quarter. Question? Question, guys. Question. Question. No questions? Sure ba? Ang katong central limit theorem, apil na. Ang katong probability distribution kay wala na. But before ko ni proceed sa central limit theorem, ang ginikanan magud ni central limit theorem is the probability distribution. Because of probability distribution, sa central limit theorem, namugna siya. So that's why I was trying to bridge the gap. Bridge the gap? I was creating a bridge para at least makarelate mo. Yes, Amos. I can't say anything. I can't tell. By the way, guys, I just decided karon lang no. I mean, last night I decided na I don't know what's going on with Sherlo. Kaya wako nagamit with Sherlo yesterday. Wako ko klase whole day Monday. Wako ko schedule ana. So I was not using Sherlo. But pag last night lang, I decided not to use Bongo anymore for my virtual classes. Starting fourth quarter, I'm going to be using Zoom na for the entire duration of the fourth quarter. I know it's too late. Nga ako nag-start daan sa Bongo, but I realized man good guys nga, di ba, I'm handling calculus man sad. So I realized nga there are recordings ako ang mga discussion nga dili siya mo show sa screen. It would just only show the white screen lang. So if I were to be the student and then if I were to revisit the video, mura ko buang mag-connect the dots nga I'm not seeing anything, di ba? Mura ko kanang naminaw ra and then I don't see any visualization. It's gonna be hard for me if I'm going to study. Do you agree? So that's why I decided to choose Zoom. I purchased a subscription to Zoom, guys, para lang ninyo. Char. Bitaw, I purchased Zoom subscription nga pro para lang kanang whenever there is a recording ba, you can revisit it and then you can really see the video. Yeah. Naka-notice mo nga some of your recordings are not showing the screen. I think si Richard ang one of the persons nga naka-notice. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell because dili ko. I'm not like technically knowledgeable sa shallow on unsa yang dagan, unsay dagan niya or whatever. But yeah. Let me just start playing the presentation here. Sige. This is going to be a very interesting topic, guys, and this is going to be, and this type of discussion guys kay dili na siya mag-need og multiple choice type of exam. So I need you to study and listen carefully in this topic. Okay. So inferential statistics is the second part of the statistics and probability course under senior high school curriculum of Cebu Doctors University. And then I make sure guys that the examples here that I added here are examples that are relatable when you go to college. And the reference, though I have not updated the reference because I need to add the book that we are using right now as the reference of this PowerPoint presentation. So here, Inferential Statistics Hypothesis Testing. Before we do that, let me give you a quick question. A principal read something on the newspaper that the overall mean score for the achievement test is 910. Okay? And then he found out that the achievement test mean score of his school is 960. The question now here is, would you agree with me or would you agree with the principal that my school bested all other schools? Yes or no? I'll repeat. The principal just read something on the newspaper that the overall mean score for the achievement test is 910. Achievement test mean score of his school is 960. The question here, would you agree with him that his school bested all other schools? Richard said, yes, sir. How about the other people, guys? Would you agree with the principal? Yes, sir. Kaya basin ma-expel me. That's okay, Mika. Mikaela, is that a question? Richard, I would no, sir. So, unsa man jud? Unsa man jud? Maybe you have your parents there, your brothers, your sisters, or your younger brother. You can ask them. Yes, akong iro, sir. Okay. Same ugsa. So namakak sila, sir. Asan siya? No, not really namakak siya, guys. In any situation. Remember mo atong example, I think I have discussed this before na I want to prove ba nga ang mga students sa Block F kay mga having higher intelligence. I want to prove it. For me to be able to do that, I need to pick a sample size. So the idea here is also true. For the overall mean score of all schools is 910. The sample size or the sample here is one school only, which is the school of the principal. And he has gotten 916 a mean score. Now, if you're going to ask me, would you agree with the principal, sir, that the school bested all other schools? The answer is no. Nga no. First, First, dili ipasabot, sir, nga imuhang 960 average or mean scores imuhang test would be the highest among all the schools. There could be another school who got maybe 970 or 990, but still part of overall mean score of 910. Do you agree? Another thing that I can prove we can disapprove, another thing that we can disapprove this statement is regarding your grades, guys. Your grades, if you're going to have a lower average compared to a person, that doesn't mean that you are less of a human being. You are less learner than the other person. The average, or you can say, mapapasabi tayong, Grades don't define your capability. Just. But yeah, that's the whole idea, guys. Averages do not tell us a concrete example or like a complete interpretation of data. Average alone, we can't tell that because I remember I said before, we still need to consider the distances of each score to the mean, the variances and the standard deviation. They matter. You matter. Trust. So that's the whole idea. We cannot agree with the principal at all. I'm sorry, Mr. Principal. Even though if you're going to expel me, I will disagree with you. O, di ba? Ka-brave, oy. Anyway, so here are the following questions, guys. 4 different questions when it comes to doing research. And when you do research, guys, especially in quantitative research, there's always a statistics. And part of that is what we call inferential statistics. Okay? This is mura sila ka ng research, quantitative research and statistical or inferential statistics. Mura sila always magkuyog, dili sila magbuwag, guys. Sana all no dili magbuwag. So here's the following questions that we can consider doing a quantitative research. Is the earth warming up? What's the answer? Yes, yes, but na. Okay. The answer, guys, to this question is needing first a proof or evidence. So for us to be able to say that the earth is really warming up, there should be a research study that it is really warming up. Because if we're going to say a yes, because that's what I feel, no, because we don't feel it here in our country. We don't feel it in Iceland. We don't feel it in Antarctica if you live in Antarctica. Diba? So mahog siyang subjective, guys. And to get rid of subjectivity in answering questions like this, scientific questions, it has to be research. So there should be a research done for it to answer if the earth is really warming up. Another question that I can throw you guys, and this is so relatable when you go to college and when you graduate college, when you take your profession, you want to be like someone who's working for a medical field or medical expert or specialization. So will this new medicine lower person's blood pressure? The answer is yes or no. The answer, it depends. It depends on the result of the research study. It depends on the data gathered. It depends how the data is interpreted. Agree? Agree? Pero kanang mga medicines nga na sa gawas case, ang gipagawas na sa pharmacy, proven and tested na sila. It has gone a lot of research study. Okay? Dili na sila pwede mo baligya or mo export to another country or mo provide or to sell to another country without doing research. That's the same thing with the COVID vaccine. Dili na automatically nga ilang itapak sa mga tao dayon. It has to undergo research studies. In fact, COVID vaccine has undergone 4 phase trials, if I'm not mistaken. The last or the 4th one is like approval na siya to allow them to distribute the vaccine to a larger population. But the first trial is a limited number of people lang, volunteers. And then from there, they gather data. And then another trial is set and so on and so forth. And that's how they do medical research. Next question is going to be teaching strategy. Is a new teaching style better than traditional style? Good example is our current version of teaching right now, redundant na kayo. We do the online teaching and we also have the face-to-face teaching. You have experience face-to-face, and so am I. Learning online, you also experience it right now, and also karon ako sad. And can we say is the new teaching style better than traditional? We can't. I can't tell. I can say because there should be a lot of like arguments or studies or discussion, which one is better. But for me, when it comes to like, when it comes to like personal aspects, like, how do we call that? Sympathy and empathy, like to feel the students what they feel. It's better to talk them personally rather than in virtual discussion. Lahi na ba gid mag face-to-face kag talk sa imong crush, di ba? Do you agree? Do you agree, Kyle? Michaela? Who else? Mika, di ba? Lahi na ba gid when you talk to Yvette, EJ, lahi na gid when you talk to a person personally, like face-to-face, but like, it's different feeling na ay naka-feel sa imong na-feel ba nga. Aside from that, you talk to them personally. I mean, you talk to them physically. Dili ka ng kuan, dili ka ng love ang pasabot. Friendship, ano ba, kanang, for example, no, kanang, at some point in your life nga you feel so sad and then you need someone to talk to, and then you can just reach out your classmate, maybe your teacher, or maybe someone from your family member nga layo ninyo because of this pandemic, and then kanang easy lang to talk to them right away, to meet them right away and talk to them physically and hug. Guys, hugs are very like good siya og feelings towards a person, kanang mga hugs. Of course, kanang mga hugs nga kanang walang halong malis siya ha, of course. Whatever, but that's my point, guys. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So lahira ba yun, di ba? Okay. Wakoy kasultan ribs. Di mo ta, yeah, di man ta kahag sa internet. And it's hard. It's hard to feel the virtual hug, di ba? Like yun siya. Hug din. Hug lang. Si Amos ba kay, ikaw Amos ito, kung kan Sir Richard, mato mo ko sa laogma. Ito kung kan Sir Richard. Hot dog. Anyway, so let's proceed to the next question. Would seat belts will reduce the severity of injuries caused by accidents? So for those people who have cars, for those people who know how to drive, would you agree with this statement? Would seatbelt will reduce the severity of the injuries caused by the accident? It depends, guys. It would still depend because we don't know how crucial, how extreme the accident is. If mild lang, maybe the seatbelt will save the person or the passenger. But if it's extreme accident, I doubt. So there's still research needs to be done for that to confirm. What if kusog padagan niya the contract ka bungo GG? Tag maligsan mo og truck kanang dako nga truck. Guys, do you listen to Bisrock? Well, siguro wala lang mo kaabotan ng mga Bisrock nga mga songs. When I was in college, when I was a little girl, when I was in college, guys, also ang Bisrock sa una. Missing Philemon, who else? Aggressive Audio. Nalimot ako sa ovan. Muna kusog sa una when I was younger. When I was younger. All right, so no more question for this. Track console. Okay, there are three methods to do hypothesis testing, guys. First, the traditional method. Number two, the p-value method. The third is confidence interval method. I'm going to focus on the first two methods, traditional method and the p-value method. The reason why I'm focusing these two, because the confidence interval method, guys, is a higher level discussion when it comes to hypothesis testing, and that's going to be like good for college or master's degree. So let's level the discussion with your levels in your high school. But either of these three methods, guys, it would still give us the same answer, same confirmation, same process. Okay, it's just that we are using different methods. Okay, and you are not going to be forced to use dapat first method, dapat second method, dapat third method. It doesn't have that way. It has to be either of the method. You can choose one of them. All right. So before we proceed to like actual actual doing of hypothesis testing, guys, let's discuss the step-by-step process. First, let's know what is hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing, guys, is a decision-making process for evaluating claims about a population. When we say decision-making process, it doesn't happen just right away, okay? Dili siya idea nga, wala na answer. No, it has undergone processes. Like for example, when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, dili siya overnight nga mahitabo. It goes different processes. Yes, recorded ni Mika. The first event that you said, sir, is this recorded because lag go? Yes, I did press the recording button. So you can revisit that. I'm gonna upload the recording, guys, to, of course, Shallow. Okay, so I'll repeat. It's a decision-making process. It doesn't happen like in a blink of an eye. There should be a step-by-step process. Now, under hypothesis testing, guys, the first step that we need to do is stating the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. I want you to take a look at the different definition of, what time is it? It's 4:03. Different definition of null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis states that there is no difference between a parameter and a specific value. When we say parameter, guys, these are values coming from the population, okay? I repeat, parameters are values coming from the population. The specific value, guys, these are values coming from the sample sizes. When we say there's no difference, it means to say that they are equal. In layman's terms, ato ang term, way kalahian. Agree? That's the null hypothesis. The alternative hypothesis is the opposite of null hypothesis. It says that there is a difference between the parameter and a specific value. I'm gonna give you 1 minute, guys, to focus yourselves so nakabold your phrases, no difference, and have, or there is a difference. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to focus yourselves on null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, because next slide will be asking us how to state the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis, okay? Your 1 minute starts now. Okay, your 1 minute is up, so let me proceed to the next slide. Here. Let me read you the problem first, the statements or the situation. So guys, here's the scenario that we're going to consider, that we're going to focus on doing hypothesis testing. We need to level up our comprehension, our reading comprehension, guys, because that's our ticket to really understand the problem and employ the correct way of a step-by-step process. Because there are a lot of hypothesis tests that we are going to do, not just once, not just one, sorry. So let me read the problem to you guys, or the situation rather. A medical researcher is interested in finding out whether a new medication will have any undesirable side effects. The researcher is particularly concerned with the pulse rate of the patients who take the medication. Will the pulse rate increase, decrease, or remain unchanged after a patient takes the medication? Since the researcher knows that the mean pulse rate for the population under study is 82 beats per minute, the hypotheses for this situation are. So what's our null hypothesis? Vaporin. Used to be vaporin. Hindi siya makita ko. So what's our null hypothesis, guys? The mean pulse, sir? Okay, let's go back to the previous slide. It says here, okay, a good point, Michaela. States the null hypothesis says nga there is no difference. So you can say nga remain unchanged ang pulse rate. Very good. That's how we say that, or that how we should say that. So let me scroll to the next item. Look at the situation. Null hypothesis is equal to the 82 beats per minute mean pulse rate. So instead of writing the sentence or the phrase form, we use the symbol to make it shorter and simpler. Okay? So again, the null hypothesis says nga there is no difference. Unsa implication when we say there is no difference, meaning to say they are equal. So that's why it shows there on your slide, on your screen rather, that its average equals 82. Next, what's going to be our alternative hypothesis? Now, if you remember the alternative hypothesis earlier, there are three. The alternative hypothesis earlier says nga there is a difference. The null says no, there's no difference. So when you say there is a difference for alternative hypothesis, there are three scenarios. First, it could be less than. Second, it could be greater than. Third, it could be not equal to. Kaya kaning tulo guys, pasabot aning tulo na ay kalahian. Pwede ang kalahian kay mas dako ang usa. Pwede ang kalahian mas gamay ang usa. Pwede ang kalahian dili sila pareha. Does it make sense? Sakto ba? Does it make sense, guys? Nga ang katong tulo ka book would imply there's a difference. Karon, sa tulo ka book na less than, greater than, or not equal to, which one do you think is the appropriate for this problem? This, muna kong pasabot guys, you have to level up your reading comprehension. So sa less than, sa greater than, either Osara EJ, sa less than, sa greater than, sa not equal to, out of one of these three, which one is appropriate for this situation? Very good, Kiana. The answer is not equal to. Why do you say so? Here, this is the clue in the problem. Will the pulse rate increase, decrease, or remain unchanged? Kana nga linya, guys, it doesn't specify if it's increase or decrease or remain unchanged. It's asking, nisaka ba, niubos ba, or napabiling pariha. In other words, not equal to, in summary. Agree? Do you agree, guys? Or ako rin nakasabot? Okay, very good. Now, this is one way to state the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. There's another way to do that. Instead of using the symbols, we can use the statement form. So the null hypothesis can be written as there is no difference between the means. The means that we are talking about here are the means coming from the sample and the population. The alternative hypothesis also says there is a difference between the means. Same thing with the means. They are coming from the population and the sample size. So either of these two guys, which one would you prefer? The symbol or the sentence form? Symbol couple type. Sentence para safe. Guys, to be honest, I don't care which one you want to choose. I'm gonna still accept that, but you need to make sure that your sentence, guys, would fit the situation, okay? Because there are sentences, guys, kanaganing mo, kanaganing sana mutipas sa meaning sa kuan. Mutipas sa pasabot sa problem. So yeah, be careful with the sentences. Why do they look same, haha, or ha? Okay, anyway, so let's have another example. Let me read to you the example 2. A chemist invents an additive to increase the life of an automobile battery. If the mean lifetime of the automobile battery without additive is 36 months, then the hypotheses are, what's our null hypothesis? Very good. U equals 36. Good job, Jarek and Michaela. There. And what's our alternative hypothesis? Who would like to give another answer, either aside from EJ? Daniela Joy, 36. Okay. Who else, aside from EJ and Daniela? Very sweet from the chandelier. No more answer? All right, no more. Nobody wants to give another answer? Let's call people B. Isabella. Mika provided bigger, greater. Isabella? Isabella who? No ba Isabella? Yeah, Isabella Bonil. Greater. Very good. The answer is greater. Why do you say it's greater than 36? How did you know it's greater than 36? Very good. The statement from the problem, first sentence, to increase the life of an automobile. Okay. So if we wish to write them in sentence form, this is the reason I said earlier that dapat your sentence form should fit or should jive in the situation. Okay, katong previous example that we have, it says there's no difference between the means. Kanino? Now, kanipot siya guys, ang alternative hypothesis, dili na difference. It should be the mean is greater than 36. And the null hypothesis would still be the same. There's no difference between the mean. Question for this example. None so far? Okay, let's proceed to the next example, the third one. A contractor wishes to lower heating bills by using a special type of insulation in houses. If the average of the monthly heating bills is 3,978, his hypotheses about the heating cost with the use of the insulation are. What's our null hypothesis? Okay, very good. I would accept the answer from Daniela, guys, and Mikaela. Okay, so the answer is mu or average equals 3,978. What's our alternative hypothesis? Very good. Diba? So guys, are we ready for the quiz na? Good job, Gia, EJ, Daniela, Jarek. So, ready for a quiz na? I think everyone is ready except for Amos. Joke. But you have to be ready, Amos, ha? You have to be ready. You have to study. Kana. Kana. Sarap sa ear, sarap sa eye. Sa'yo, of course. Very good. And if you want to write this in sentence form, guys, these are the answers. The null hypothesis test still, there's no difference between the means. And the alternative hypothesis, the mean is less than. There's a typo error with the number, guys. Remove the 3 before the 9. So it should be 3,978. Question so far. Easy ra, no? Diba? Easy ra. Okay. So these are the different tests that we do, guys, with respect to the alternative or the alternative hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis. So here are the following test type. We do have the two-tailed test if your alternative hypothesis uses the not equal to. We have the right-tailed test if your null hypothesis uses greater than. We have the left-tailed test when your null hypothesis uses less than. Okay? Now, this is the illustration for the two-tailed test. So if you notice, we focus on both ends of the normal curve, and that's those shaded regions, we call them the critical region. For the right-tailed test, we only focus on the right side. Okay, and of course, the left-tailed test, we only focus on the left side. And guys, these areas, or the shaded region, katong-atuang technique on how to solve for the area would still be used here. Di ba? So you are now connecting the dots. Okay. These are the common phrases, maybe a context clue that would help you to determine if you're going to use not equal to, less than, or greater than for your alternative hypothesis. Kana. I hope those statements would help you out, would help you guys. Okay. So you can take a screenshot, guys. You can take a screenshot of this. Anyway, this is recorded, so you can always revisit this. Okay. The statistical test, guys, is a basis if we wish to reject or accept the null hypothesis. So the basis for your decision making, guys, is the null hypothesis. Would we accept the null hypothesis or would we reject the null hypothesis? And how to decide that? By using the test value or statistical test. Unfortunately, Richard, I won't. I will not upload this. Okay, the idea mo is if you upload na ko ni, you might not be listening during the discussion na. Sorry, but again, recorded bitaw, so you can always visit the recording. Diba? And this time, I can assure you it would show the screen na, rather compared sa bongo nga, di siya mo share. So here are the 4 possible outcomes for hypothesis testing case. I'm just gonna discuss the last item lang. This person with like hammer. Okay. Type 1 error. Null hypothesis is true, but you reject it. So ano, mura siya kanang feelings ba? True yung feelings para nimo pero what mo siya dawata. Oh. Ano na? That's type 1 error. Type 2 error is when the feelings is false, but you fail to reject it. In other words, imo gyud po siyang gisugot bisag gipasakay ra kaniya. Oh! Kasada na nga situation, guys. Ay mo pailad, guys. So whenever Whenever nga na manguyab ninyo guys, before mo musugod, dapat mag-hypothesis testing sa amo, charo. You know, the idea is before ka musugot sa nanguyab nimo, you need to do hypothesis testing if his feelings or her feelings is true kay para dili ta makapataka og decide i-reject ba nato ang pretest ba i-reject ba nato ang null hypothesis when it's true or i-accept ba nato. Bitaw guys, feelings magod are subjective. So let's talk about objective way. Do you watch like mga movies or mga marupok things? Welcome marupok Richard. Do you watch mga movies guys or like kanang mga series ba and then kanang naay mga scenes sa court like do you watch How to Get Away with Murder? I love that series good. It's very interesting as series. I finished the series for like 1 week naman siguro and then 7 seasons. How to Get Away with Murder. Sige, ani siya. In the jury, guys, in the jury, di ba, na suspect, no? For example, let's do the type 1 error. Ang suspect is really true nga siya ang nibuhat sa murder. Ha? The suspect is really true nga siya ang nibuhat sa murder. Sa court, guys, i-investigate man na. I-trial, i-undergo man nag-trial. Now, it just so happen nga ang jury, ang decision maker, ilang gi-reject na siya ang murderer. One of the factors sa ilang decision making case is strong ang evidence nga dili siya ang murder. Pero siya mismo siyang conscious kaya bao siya nga siya ang murder. That's type 1 error. Because we reject the fact that that person is the murderer. That's injustice. And injustice is an error. And that's a type 1 error. Amen? Amen. Again, guys, I don't want to dwell more details about like politics and so on and so forth. Kay dili ko gusto kanang kuan kanang di ko gusto kanang matag ta, hey sir, everything is political. As much as possible, I wanna get rid of politics and I don't want to discuss about politics with guys. Kay layo kay maabtan kung mo discuss og kuan. Yeah, kana mga forensic files ang inana even nga for those people who love that. Next, type 2 error. Here, type 2 error is when murderer no. Type 2 error is, for example, ang katong suspect, dili siya ang murderer. Dili siya ang murderer. However, we fail to reject na dili siya murderer. In other words, atong gi-accept nga murderer siya. And one factor ani is because of the evidence gapon, because of the witnesses, magibayran nga witnesses, na siya ang nagpatay. I saw him. At this hour, Sherva, anding adlaw, Sherva, siya akong nakita ni Ihangi pusil, whatever. Bisan ang suspect, dili siya ang murderer, siya ang conscious, but still, tag siya as murderer. That's going to be type 2 error. So I hope you understand the difference between type 1 error and type 2 error. When we say fail to reject, guys, pasabot ana, gi-accept nato siya. So when you say, I failed to reject him, hindi mo siyang gidawat. Sarap! Sana all, di ba? Anyway, that's the end of discussion for today, guys. Para ma-uniform sa other blocks, we ended here. Do you have any questions? Kutas mag-discuss og stat, guys, kay wordy kay siya, as in wordy. And then this is one of the things nga, dili ingon I hate, kanang umayan ko kay, kapag kay yaw-yaw, guys, kaysa lang yung mag-show lang, kag sa pag-solve. Basta, stat is very wordy. Anyway, but still, I love statistics. No. Gani mga kuan, despite of his or her lapses, you still love him or her. Chos, charot! Questions? Guys, questions? Yes. So null hypothesis or na. Kaya ato ang basis to decide, guys, is either to reject the null hypothesis or to accept the null hypothesis. Kaya ang pasabot ng good ani is, when we reject the null hypothesis, pasabot ana, we are accepting the alternative hypothesis. Kaya duha ra ba ito ka choices. So kung i-reject mo usa, in other words, you're accepting the other one. And if we are accepting the null hypothesis, we are rejecting the alternative hypothesis. So it's the other way around. So the basis for decision making, guys, is only the null hypothesis. Mo nang also basis for the type 1 and type 2 error is only the null hypothesis. So I hope maka-answer sa tuang quizzes soon. No? No more questions, guys. Question and answer. Question. Hey. We still have, I think, we still have 2 minutes. None. Okay, thank you so much, Pia. Is everything understandable? I assume kay wala may mga questions niya. Kung magsugod tag ka ng ina mo nga topic, paspas iki maka-reply sa GC. Kung mag-serious gani kay mingaw sa kaayo. And that's how it should be, di ba? Na yung mga times nga mag-joke-joke ta, nasa yung mga times nga serious ta, di ba? Dili ingon nga, joke lang ta all the time. Kasi yung nga, seryoso na ta all the time. Okay, makaumay siya. So yeah, no more questions. And thank you so much for staying up with me, guys. The recording will be uploaded later on because it'll take Zoom to convert the video to MP4. And then it'll take me also maybe minutes or hour to upload the file to Cello. Especially Cello right now is having latency. So yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, and take care. I'm gonna upload an assignment, guys. Sorry. I'm gonna upload an assignment. The deadline is going to be on Saturday, 11:59 p.m. because there's no class on Friday. Ha! Walay klase Friday. Ha! Solong walay klase. Chos. Thank you. Take care. So I'm gonna stop sharing and then I'm going to stop recording. Bye. You can leave the virtual classroom. And then I'm gonna end meeting. Guys, mag-end meeting ako, guys. Basig kanang napamudiha ba and then ma-end lang.